Hello, and thanks for stopping by Made by Monica. Today we're making a Valentine DIY sign, so stay with me and we'll craft it together. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need are about 6 bunches of roses from Dollar Tree, in whatever color you'd like, one of the heart wreath forms, the metal wreath forms, and 2 of those love signs from the Dollar Tree, the long ones, and we're going to go ahead and remove those galvanized hearts. Okay, so now we're going to take our signs and we're going to go ahead and get those galvanized hearts off of there. So you want to just take like a putty knife and just go ahead and work those underneath there. They tend to put a lot of glue under those, but this one actually was pretty tight, so it actually popped off pretty hard. Sorry about that. Of course, the next one I did, because I was making one for my daughter as well, and those came off just fine. So you never know what you're going to get. So just go ahead and take your putty knife and just work those off. And they just usually come off pretty easy, but sometimes they do get kind of tight. So no big deal. Just go ahead and pop them off. And then we're going to go ahead and sand some of that hot glue off to give us kind of a more smoother surface to go ahead and paint with. So okay, so you want to go ahead and grab your scissors then, and we're going to go ahead and cut off those top strings from the top of the signs there. No big deal, just go ahead and cut those off, and then we are going to go ahead and grab our sanding block and go ahead and sand off some of that glue from the hearts there, but don't worry about it too much. The heart wreath that we're going to make actually covers that up pretty well. So if you can't get all that glue and stuff off from the center of that heart, don't worry too much about it. Just, do the best you can and try and get some of that sanded down just a little bit. But really, if you can't get too much of it off, it's no big deal. You'll see once we make the heart wreath how much of that really gets covered up by that. So just do what you can, getting some of that sanded off there. And now we're going to go ahead and start painting it. So I'm using the Mineral chalk paint, and you can just pick that up from Walmart or something. It's called Mineral. And so we're going to go ahead and start painting these boards. Now we do want to keep the palette look of the boards, but if you get paint in those lines and stuff, don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead and go back over it and with a paintbrush and stuff. So we're going to put those lines back in. If you want to be careful and go down, each of the 3 sides and try not to get paint into those lines, you'll probably be just fine. So, but if you get paint in there, no big deal. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and grab a paintbrush and put those lines back in and go ahead and distress it anyway. So go ahead and get that painted, and we're going to go ahead and paint the next board as well with that Mineral chalk paint. Okay, I just wanted to show you a little tip that I do. We're going to go ahead and put 2 coats of that mineral paint on there, so we need our brush not to dry out. So I just grab foil sheets and I wrap the brush in a foil sheet, and that way I know that it's ready for me when I'm ready to put that second coat on. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and start putting our wreath together. So all I did is grab those roses that we bought from Dollar Tree, and you can use, whatever colors you want. I used some of the red ones here, and then also some of the plain pink ones. I thought that would look really cute together. And I grabbed several bunches of those. I think maybe 2 or 3 of the red, and then maybe 1 or 2 of the pink. And then I have a third pink color that I used as well. So we're just going to go ahead and start adding those roses to the back. So what you do is you just want to kind of pop that through there a little bit and grab your hot glue gun. And we are just going to glue that right to in between those 2 wire on the wreath. Is a good spot to kind of pop that through. And you want to make sure that you glue that onto the wire wreath form, so that it has something to hold on to. So I kind of glue, try and glue both sides so that it stays in position there. And then we're going to go ahead and keep going around there. So we'll just grab another rose and pop it through there. But I kind of try and use the plastic piece from the back of the rose and pop it through. And that's where I use it to hold the glue onto the wreath form. So it holds it onto the plastic piece on the back of the rose and then also onto the wreath form there. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab another rose. This one has kind of, it's pink, but it has red tips to it. So I thought it would look really pretty together with both of those roses on there. And then I did add some of just the regular pink as well. I kind of intermixed those. So just pop those into the back of the wreath form there. And like I said, I use those little plastic, they're kind of like little spider things that kind of pop through there, and they're just long enough on that wreath form to give you something to glue onto that piece of metal and also the plastic of the rose. And so it gives you something to grip onto there. So we are just going to go ahead and add some more hot glue onto that, and then just choose whatever colors you want. You can turn the wreath around and kind of look what it looks like from the front, but kind of squish those in just a little bit more. If you grab maybe 6 or 7 bundles of the roses, then you should have enough to do one of these wreath forms. And we're of course going to go ahead and add a big bow to it too, so it's going to have plenty of roses on it along with your big bow on it as well. So just flip that over, kind of take a look to see what it looks like, and we're going to go ahead and just add the roses to the rest of that wreath form. Okay, and here it is all finished. That's kind of what it looks like on the back when you get all those roses in there. And we've just intermixed all those roses together. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, and now we are back to the boards. So we are going to go in with that truffle. It's called truffle chalk paint. And again, you can get that from Walmart as well. And I've got kind of an angled brush. And we are going to go ahead and brush back in those lines. And even if you have paint in those lines a little bit from that mineral paint, you can still see the lines. So it's nothing that you're going to need a ruler or anything for. If you really like straight lines, you can go ahead and use your ruler. But I really do think that the hand painted lines just give it a really nice look. And especially once we distress it, I think that the lines end up looking just really, really beautiful. So don't worry so much about, getting them straight. Just go ahead and take your paint and your paintbrush, and we are going to go ahead and paint those lines back in. Okay, now that we have all the lines painted back in, we're going to go ahead and distress this. So you want to grab a brush that, is just kind of one that you don't use very often, or, I go ahead and rough up the edges of that brush so that we want a dry brush effect. So you're going to dip your paintbrush into the paint, and then we're just going to rub off most of the paint onto the wax paper. And so you don't want it to be a whole lot of paint. We're just dry brushing. So we're just putting a little bit of distress back onto the sign. And as you can see where we popped those hearts off, it's a little bit darker area right there where that hot glue is on there from those galvanized hearts. But it's okay. Like I said, once we put that heart wreath on there, you are not going to be able to see those at all. So don't worry about that part of it. But we just went in with that truffle paint again. And just go ahead and get a little bit on your paintbrush, wipe the excess off on the wax paper, and then you just want to dry brush that truffle onto there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add some white distressing to that. So just take your same paintbrush and you are going to just put a little bit of white paint on there and then rub it off on the wax paper. And we're just going to dry brush that on there. So you don't want, a real full coverage. You just want a dry brush effect on there, and it's going to give it a real nice distressed look. Now, I made this for my aunt, and she has a little more brown tones. And so if I was doing this for myself, I would probably do maybe a little more farmhouse look. I would probably go ahead and use the mineral, but the chalk paint also has a color called Elephant, and it's more of a gray paint. And so I would probably use that in place of the truffle. If you're looking for more of a farmhouse look, you can go with the gray tones. And then also you're still going to want to put that white on there as well. I think it just brightens it up a little bit, that white does, and gives it a more distressed look. With a brighter kind of effect. So just go ahead and dry brush it as much or as little as you want to. And if you've got too much in one spot, just go ahead and grab that mineral paint and, just go ahead and put that back on, and you'll never even notice that you got a little heavy in one area. So we're going to go ahead and distress those, and then I'll show you how we're going to put those together and get our wreath put on there. It's going to look great. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make our big bow. I've got 3 different ribbons, that gingham check ribbon that Dollar Tree has out right now. Grab a pair of scissors and a pipe cleaner, and we are going to grab our red sheer ribbon first and go ahead and make what we call an Olivia bow. So if you've seen Olivia's Romantic Home on YouTube, she has a great tutorial on how to make this bow. But basically, because there's no front and back on this bow, you're just going to kind of wrap it around itself. And you're going to go ahead and you want to make 3 loops then on each side. And so go ahead and make 3 loops then for each side on the plain red ribbon, on the printed Valentine ribbon, and then we're going to end up doing the same thing with the smaller red gingham ribbon as well. So go ahead and have your pipe cleaner close by and your scissors, and we're going to cut the middle of that ribbon there and put the pipe cleaner in and make our bow. It's going to be gorgeous. And now that we have our bow done, we're going to go ahead and add it to our wreath. So I went ahead and added it to the side of mine. So after you cut, quarter way into the ribbon and put your pipe cleaner on, you're going to want to make sure that you have enough pipe cleaner to attach it to the wreath. So you can do a little bit of fluffing, before you get it on the wreath, but a lot of times I just do a lot of my fluffing, after it's already on the wreath. It seems like, you pull and tuck and everything and fluff, and then you get it on the wreath and you just have to do it again. So, but go ahead and, pull those apart. You've got 3 loops then of each side on each of the ribbons. So just go ahead and separate all of those. So you want to pull the first one forward and, maybe even do a little bit of pulling towards you into the center, and that'll help to kind of fluff that out. But you can kind of do that to your liking and just keep playing with it. Eventually it comes out to the way that you like it. And like I said, don't mess with it too much when until you get it on there. So a lot of times it needs fluffing after you get it on anyway. So just go ahead and take the pipe cleaner, and you're going to want to put it on the front of that wreath. And then you're going to flip that over and finish putting that on. So here I'm showing you that I've just, flipped the wreath over, and I've taken that pipe cleaner, and you're just going to want to twist it around the wire form so that bow really adheres to that form, and it's really not going to go anywhere. So you can see it kind of smashes itself down, and, you just kind of want to play with that bow and fluff it back out until it gets to the look that you like. I just really like the 3 different colors on there. You've got that plain underneath, and then you've got the printed on top like that. And then, I really like having the thinner material in the middle as well too. That ribbon in the middle, that gingham, is just so pretty. So that's how it kind of comes out. And you've got your big ribbon then on your wreath, and we're going to go ahead and get it attached to our board, and I'll show you how all of that goes together. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and dovetail the ends of those. So just grab your scissors. You just want to grab the ends of the ribbon and fold it together. And when you cut it at an angle like that, then you get that dovetail effect on the end of your ribbons. So go ahead and grab whatever tails are sticking out there, and you just want to fold those in half, and it gives you that really pretty dovetail. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and finish our boards. Now these are not glued together yet. I've just put them together because we're going to go ahead and take either, you can use foam core, you can use poster board. This is what I used, is the trifold poster board that you can get from Dollar Tree. So I just put them together, and I traced with a pencil line. And now you're just going to want to grab your X-Acto knife, and we are just going to cut along those pencil lines. And so just go ahead and cut that board out, and I'll show you how that's going to all go together. Okay, now we have that all cut out, so I will show you how we are going to glue all this together. So go ahead and grab your E6000. You can do this with hot glue, but a lot of times over time that hot glue will kind of give way. So I always do it with the E6000, and then I'm going to go ahead and add hot glue to it as well. So you're going to want to run that E6000 right down the edges of that board. So you're going to want to do all 4 edges of that board, and then go ahead and run the E6000 down along the middle of it as well. It's just going to hold it better, and I just think that the backing on that with that poster board on there, I'm not sure what you call it. It's that trifold board that they have like in the poster board area at Dollar Tree. So anyway, that's what I used. So now on the first one, I forgot to run the E6000 down the middle of that board, but you are going to want to run that down the middle of the board. And then you're just going to want to add your hot glue to it as well. So the hot glue actually gives it a quick adhere, and then your E6000 is what it's going to use to adhere for over time. So that E6000 takes about 24 hours to dry. So the hot glue on it allows you to go ahead and keep going with the project, and it gives it kind of an instant glue on there. So go ahead, and you're going to want to line that up to the edges of that poster board, and then we're going to go ahead and add the second one to it as well. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and add the love words to it. So I just printed off of my computer the word love, and I can't even remember what font it is. I just picked one that I liked, and now we're using the graphite pencils that they sell at Dollar Tree. I think they only have them if you have a crafter square, but if you can find a Dollar Tree with a crafter square. Now this can be done with a regular pencil as well. You don't need the graphite pencils, but if you can find the graphite pencils, they just give a better coverage. So just go ahead and flip the paper over, and you're going to want to color the pencil in where the word love is. And then once we flip that over, we're just going to go ahead and trace that word. And what it's going to do is it's going to leave those graphite lines onto your board. So it gives you kind of, an outline to go by once we paint that love on there. So we're just going to go ahead and grab our white paint. And once we get that on there, then just go ahead and trace over the word love in your white paint, and it comes out really pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we're going to attach that wreath to the boards. So on this part, you can just go ahead and use your hot glue to attach that to your board. If you're worried about it coming off, you can go ahead and attach attach it with the E6000 as well. I haven't had a problem with it coming off, so with just using the hot glue, but please feel free to use the E6000 if you feel like it'll stay on a little bit better. So I just make sure that the bottom of that wreath is centered to that center board, that center line there, and then we just go ahead and attach it. So the last thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and attach one of those galvanized hearts that we popped off at the very beginning. So I think it's going to give it a real nice look. It's going to kind of fill up that space a little bit. And I think it's going to be a real nice look with the, you've got the wood look with the roses and that galvanized heart. It's just beautiful. Okay, so now here we have our finished sign. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. That big Olivia bow on there, and you've got your red and your pink roses with our galvanized heart. You guys, you can do this sign. You can do this sign. So go to Dollar Tree, grab all your supplies, and get crafting and make your own Valentine's sign this year. It's beautiful. So thank you for watching. Please go ahead and hit subscribe, and we've got more DIYs coming your way.